I told you I was coming in hot today.
I got a lot to say, man. I come
Oh,
here, I got something to say.
it's been a
Uh,
while.
so we got Commie Trucker is here. I'm Chris Jeffries. Welcome back, buddy. It's good to see you.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
great to be
Um,
here.
we were just talking about life necessities not being commodities. Is
Hmm.
that a wild idea? Um, I agree with you 100%. I don't think that pe- people like Nestle can come in and say, we're going to own water rights. Water
Yeah.
rights is also another bizarre thing.
God.
Water rights,
And
mineral
yeah,
rights. You can
and
have the
some
land. I want the rocks.
in some cities and states, it's illegal to collect rainwater.
Yeah.
It's to ensure that businesses thrive, to ensure
Wait,
that
what?
Nestle can buy your lake and own your fucking lake or river. It makes no sense. So they can
Do they
poison it with soda.
do they say anything about like why they do it? I mean, obviously we know why they just want full
I'm
control, but
Yeah, I'm sure there's some bylaws about regulatory safety or whatever, but it's all just a cover
yeah.
to ensure
What's
that
the
people
what's the like
don't
the
profit on what's free.
raw milk thing? Like it's for your own safety. You can't have raw milk and stuff. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm vegan, but still, it's like, come on. It's sort of about power, isn't it? To take away the ability for people to just be self-governed. So I was talking with my buddy the other day. I don't know if you heard about Ozempic, but this is just like another way for people to be hooked on a subscription basis to some kind of consumerist capitalist medicine that they.
Ozempic.
Yeah, so it's basically it was made for people with diabetes, but they found that
Okay.
it can cause incredibly fast, dangerously fast weight loss. And so people are
Oh
starting to
shit.
use it as a
As a weight
it's a
loss method.
as a fad. Yeah, people in Hollywood are joking around. They're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to take the Ozempic." Uh, but as soon as you stop taking the stuff, you balloon right back up to your normal weight.
Oh yeah.
And so you're on this subscription basis in order to be thin. I got to take my thin pills and pay my corporate overlord so that I can look to the
And
standard of.
that just of course will just increase the price for people that actually need it, diabetics that actually need the medicine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh
Yeah.
this is the stupidest world. What are we
Yeah.
doing?
Well, welcome to the show. This is my show where I gripe about everything under the sun that has just gone wrong with humanity. Um, yeah. I wrote an article today. Global sperm counts have declined
Yeah,
52% since
that's
1970.
interesting.
And I wrote this because I had written about it before, but then my wife brought this study to my attention in the University of Munster, where in Germany, where they discovered that it has to do with ion channels of sperm, to where the sperm it's there, they're just they don't have any ability to swim or any strength to get inside the egg and stuff, so they're just sort of flimsy and weak and like.
Is it environmental?
Well, here's the thing. They just pretty much pin it on everything. But one of the top things is BPA, herbicides, and pesticides. This is the
Yeah.
top that they're looking at. But
Mm,
also stress. Stress can do it. They
weird.
did they did a
You
study,
stress?
dude.
You stress lately? I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's not stressed right now. Come on.
Yeah. Come on. It's
That's the one
it's
thing
a,
I
it's
could
a
you can start a conversation with anybody and be like, "Oh man, fucking world, right?" The people are like, "Yeah,
yeah. Just start there.
yeah." People on the elevator, people on the bus, yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Everything's on fire, and
But
we're
yeah,
just watching our sperm count decline.
well,
Normal.
they did a study with the mice, right, where they turned up music really loud, and they found that
Hmm.
the louder the noise that they were subjected to, the lower their sperm count was too.
Okay.
So all kinds of weird, interesting shit about why this could be happening. But I'd like to think that it's somehow a conscious effort for us to be like, hey, we're at
Speciatic,
enough.
where our species are in decline as a natural phenomenon.
Yeah. Or some kind of organoid intelligence, like, oh, we know, we we take a look around and we just smell it and we know it. But that's not true, because the thing is, in India, the population is really dense, and you have to
Hmm.
fight your way on a train in Mumbai, like and
Yeah.
they have a higher fertility rate. So it's not it's something we did in the Western world, and I'd like to think your microplastics, your BPA's, your PFAS, your all the chemical cocktails. I don't know.
Well, we all have like a pound of microplastics in us at any given time. No, that's gonna have an effect eventually. We're all breathing
Mm,
in pesticides and whatever toxins we release by fracking everything to hell.
yeah.
It's gonna have an effect.
What else? I know I interviewed people about the microplastics too, and these
Mm.
people don't know that this is like oil based stuff. Plastic is made out of oil, and essentially
Mhm.
they actually need to they put the oil in it, but then they have to have all these additives too in order to make it plastic, to make a little jug of orange juice or whatever.
Mhm.
Uh, and when that starts degrading, which a lot of it degrades in the sun, photo degrades, a lot of it degrades in the ocean or whatever, but it breaks down to a molecular level and just
Mhm.
sort of becomes you and becomes a fish or whatever.
Or a fetus.
Yeah. 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 If that, and the fetus is probably doomed because it has endocrine disrupting, qualities about
Hmm.
plastic. So once it's in you, it fucks up your hormone system. Um, I heard a study where they said they found in birds were eating it, right? These seagulls, they come out and they start munching on the stuff on the beach. And the
Yeah.
ones that they tested that had the higher amounts of it, they couldn't digest it. It would get stuck in their gizzards and everything, and eventually it would degrade, and it would be found to decrease the growth of young ones, and their wingspan wouldn't get big enough to where they couldn't fly with the rest of the group, to
Yeah.
the south or whatever for the winter. Um,
Mm.
Sad shit. I hate it when the wildlife gets fucked up, and it's because of
They
us.
did nothing to deserve what we're doing to them.
Yeah, dude.
They're just
Uh,
existing, flying around eating pebbles and shit. Here we are
yeah,
just, blowing fumes into their face and seeing what's going on. What's happening? Why are you
yeah.
sick?
Let's put some oiled up garbage out them for them to choke on and die. Like, yeah,
Look, there's flowers in Antarctica. Everything isn't bad.
yeah. And I feel bad for like the Inuits. I was talking the other day. Like
Yeah.
they gotta survive off of whales and stuff, and the ice is
Yep.
melting, and then they can't find the whales, and the whales are all confused. Then what?
That's fine.
This is why I drink, man.
What could go wrong, right?
What could go wrong? What could go right? Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm kind of a misanthrope at this point. I guess that's why I want to brand myself as. Be like, hey, I don't have any answers. All I know is I hate all these people for being so obtuse. But no, I mean,
Yeah.
there are answers that we could do or whatever. But when you look around, isn't it sort of multi-pronged fucking bullshit everywhere? Just like no matter which direction you look.
I mean, everything looks dire and everything is dire. And there's everything's so bleak, it feels like there's no way that we can address climate change and genocide and pollution, and there's no way we can deal with all that and deal with homelessness and hunger and disease and lowering sperm count, and there all these things are all happening at once, and it's overwhelming because i can't I can't get up the next day and say, okay, I'm gonna deal with climate change today. You know, that's what I'm gonna do today, and then I won't have to worry about it because all these things are such massive problems that we individually can't affect. I mean, we're told to recycle more or eat healthy or only buy certain brands or don't buy other brands and do all these ethical things individually as consumers. But none of that really helps. As individuals, we can't consume our way out of climate change or consume enough ethical products to stop a genocide. It's not on us as individuals. So it's very important that we don't hold on to this guilt that we are not responsible for. There are individuals that could address these issues and make serious impacts. But the only problem is these individuals' wealth and status and privilege is incumbent on all of these horrible things continuing, on the status quo continuing. And we can't count on them, so we're back to feeling guilty for living however we live.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the important thing is that we can, as collectives, as organizations, we can gather 5 people together and take socks to homeless people, or feed someone in need, or do our part to make our community cleaner or healthier, or stage certain events that might not be legal but could disrupt the status quo and ensure that certain things don't happen.
You you're a
Look
big
at
fan.
the
I'm a big fan of like going against the grain just for the sake of going against the grain, because the
yeah,
minute that we all conform is the minute that they shut the door and we're not able
yeah.
to ever be weird ever again, you know.
hmm hmm But my thing is that I understand the nihilism and the misanthropic feelings, but it's incumbent on us to not feel personally guilty for all the horrible things that our governments and states and representatives are doing in our name. Because as individuals, we have no say. We can go to City Hall and scream. I've seen this, I saw this like 12-year-old girl go into her city council in Cleveland and say, if you stand against the murder of innocent men, women, and children, could you please stand up? If you stand against genocide, could you please stand up? And nobody stood. So they're clearly not representing us. These monsters, there's nothing we can do to affect them except by organizing together and disrupting their lives until they fear us more than they fear their donors. And that's it's not our fault, like goddamn Robin Williams said to Matt Damon, it's not your fault. Okay. it's we're all in this together, and I'm more positive in the fact that I think that humans are more clever than to just fucking consume our way into oblivion. We're
Yeah.
gonna come together. We're coming together now.
Yeah.
We're having more protests than ever before for Palestine. We're witnessing these awful genocides, and we're going to continue to witness the horrors that capitalism is responsible for. And the more we see, the more we act. And
Yeah.
I'm positive that we're going to finally collectively take enough action to get shit done. It's
Yeah.
just going to happen.
We're looking at something like people from the ages of 18 to 35 right now. The majority of them against capitalism, want it to end.
hmm
These are smart kids. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things stirring right now. So that gives me hope, of course. And yeah, I do get down on myself, but you're right. Like if we chastise ourselves about, well, am I doing enough? Like I gave up coffee and I went vegan and I do all this stuff. And then the
hmm
ExxonMobil comes out on Twitter and says, be sure to watch out for your carbon footprint. Shower with a friend. And I'm like, how about not dumping 50 fucking thousand
Yeah.
gallons of oil into the sea? How about that?
Yep. 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 And don't let these fucking liberals woke scold you into fucking, over obsessing about your carbon footprint or recycling or do all that stuff. It's all good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, do it. If you
Yeah.
have the time and money, if you have the energy, if you're working 3 fucking jobs, 80 hours a week, and you have no time for your family, you can barely cover rent, and this fucking motherfuckers are trying to guilt you because you didn't recycle that pop can, fuck them. You know,
Yeah.
that's not going to save anyone. So don't let people make you feel guilty for
Yeah.
what our industries and huge corporations and billionaires are fucking doing. Elon
Yeah.
Musk is going to burn your entire life's carbon footprint in one trip to fucking Epstein's Island. So don't fucking worry about your recycled pop cans.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just my thought.
I mean, but you do it when you can. But that's why I don't get
Yeah.
hard. I don't get hard on people that aren't vegan. I know that, hey, if you go
Hmm.
vegan, it's a great thing to do for lots of radical reasons. But if you
Hmm.
can't do it, I understand that too because I was
Yeah.
poor and I understood the ethics, but I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't in a space where I could do it.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
tip my hat to the guy that could do it. That's cool.
But yeah,
But
that stuff being living ethically takes a certain level of privilege and status.
yes,
It just does. All the
absolutely.
most convenient when you're working so much and you need something convenient, you need something easy, it's gonna be over processed fast food. And you know that's the fucking rut they have you in. There's not gonna be a
Mm,
vegan option for a Big Mac that's gonna give you enough calories to get through your fucking day. You know,
yeah,
that just doesn't
yeah.
exist yet.
The availability of it and
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, forget about it. Maybe in the future, but for now, it's
Yeah,
not
I'm
worth.
sure the
It's not
future
worth.
is meatless. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not vegan by any means, but the future is gonna be meatless.
yeah. Only 1% of the population are vegan, and frankly, there's so much going on. I'm just patient with everybody to the
Hmm.
extent where I think we're
Yeah,
all just trying to survive. Let's see what happens. Uh, Maybe we descend into cannibalism by 2060. I mean, that's a heavy duty food source right there. I don't know, but
I
hopefully,
doubt it. I don't have that on my bingo card,
yeah, okay,
but you know, we'll see.
we'll see. But yeah, no, I think I agree with you in the sense if you keep on pushing and keep on challenging everything about the status quo, it will break and it will fracture. And I think that the
Hmm.
younger people are smarter inherently, right? They do get smarter and
Yeah,
they do see the mistakes that
absolutely.
our people
The
make.
the way I
I'm
see it is the next generation, Gen Z and younger, they don't have the privilege of denying the world they're inheriting. You know that there's no more time. There's no time left to deny what's happening. I mean, the ice caps are melting at a rate that scientists never thought possible, and
yeah,
species are dying off at enormous rates. There's a fucking genocide happening on your phone every day. You're witnessing the most gruesome, detailed horrors that any human could ever live through.
yeah,
I mean, we can't deny it. The next generations can't deny it.
yeah. So with the good, it brings up a good question though. How can boomers and everybody that's older than you and I, how are they doing such a great job of ignoring all of this?
They just turn their TV off. They don't have to do anything. If you're at the point where you have enough money and privilege, you can bury yourself in whatever hobbies or upper class fucking tea parties you throw yourselves and just move about your day. I mean, you don't have to be conscious to be human. You can
Yeah.
just exist and go through life on autopilot and not give a shit about anyone else in your life. We've seen it. We've all seen that asshole be rude to a service worker because they can't comprehend that that waiter has their own interior life, their own struggles. They only see their inconveniency. And so we've seen people go on autopilot with a shitty fucking attitude. And that's almost an entire generation of people that were given the most luxurious existence, and now the rest of us have to pay for it. They bankrupted the future so that they could have the fucking Airbnb and the fucking inside pool or whatever.
Yeah.
And
They,
now the rest of us are paying for it.
they got the whole the wealth transfer that's about to happen is going to be insane because the boomers right now who own their property are some of the wealthiest people in the country, and they're experiencing
Mm-hmm.
all this new wealth because property values have gone up. So they're on a spending spree
Yeah.
right now, spending their balls off. And then all the young people are under more strain than ever before in the history of young people. And only the ones that really inherit any of these houses will do well. But we the pattern I see with these old people is they want to spend it all. They want to just
Mm-hmm.
there's a selfishness and an entitlement deep behind the scenes
Yeah.
of these people that age, and I just feel so damn
Entitlement.
bad.
Yeah, that's the word for it too. And every time one of these conservatives complain about these younger kids that just want everything for free because they're entitled, no, these younger kids want housing that they can afford. They want health care that's not going to bankrupt them. They want education. These aren't big asks. And like I was saying earlier, before we started the show, when you put a price on something, you make it unaffordable for someone. And so these boomers, they got their housing and education for basically nothing, for the equivalent of I don't know, a minuscule amount of what we pay now. And now they're profiting off it further. And then they have it in their head that they somehow accomplished all this by working full time, by struggling through everything. When the reality is that this generation, millennial and Gen Z, work more hours with more precarity and less income than any previous generation prior since the New Deal. We're just poorer, and we work more, and we work harder, and
Yeah,
we get less sick days, less vacation, we get no time to rest. We pay more for education, housing, and healthcare than any previous generation.
yeah,
And when we're labeled as entitled because we want a system that cares for people in need, it's just these older generations telling on themselves.
yeah. And they don't want to hear the data. The hard data
Yeah.
says right there. It says 900% increase in everything related to standard of living since 1970. You've got the rise of tuition, housing, automobiles,
Hmm.
food. Everything has gone up exponentially since then, and it hasn't,
Except wages.
except wages.
Wages have been stagnant. Wages have been a net decline since the 70s, since mass privatization, since the erosion of unions. It's all gone downhill.
Yeah. And now we're seeing the reemergence of unions.
Yeah.
And I did talk to somebody, they said antitrust laws are very close on the horizon. They're almost unavoidable because there are mainstream politicians who are usually doing the bidding of these corporations anyway.
Hmm.
It's really being talked about because even Warren Buffett, this old sleazeball from Nebraska,
Hmm.
he's complaining about it too. He says it's not fair that my secretary has a higher tax rate than me. It's like, well, thanks for
Yeah,
the
but
insight, bud.
yeah, yeah. Then just fucking pay your taxes, then, asshole.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
But on the flip side, maybe some of these sleazeball billionaires understand that if they did pay their taxes, how much of it would go to
No,
bombing brown children?
they don't
Uh,
care. That's why the fucking whole that's why
that's the
we,
libertarian
we
idea. Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg, right?
Right.
That's why he bought and muscled indigenous people out of huge portions of Hawaii, is to build his fucking underground bunker, because that's their plan, is just to hide from it until everyone dies. because they don't think they rely on other people.
Right. The libertarian fantasy.
Yeah.
I'm a rugged individual. I don't need anybody else. I can survive. Yeah, my existence isn't predicated on the labor of thousands of people.
Jesus
Um,
Christ.
well, you know, Douglas Rushkoff, he wrote this book, Survival of the Richest, where he went out to an island and was talking to these people, these billionaires who wanted to have a sit down with him and pick his brain for what he knows about technology and the future and stuff.
Yeah.
And they basically started asking him, how do we get our Navy SEALs that we've got after the apocalypse happens? How do we get them to stay obedient to us after
Yes.
the world is end?
I was just gonna mention that. Their main concern is how do they keep their security forces loyal? After everything goes to hell and everyone dies, how do we keep these guys from killing us? That's their main concern. That's
Yeah,
how they address. That's their concern for climate change, is
yeah.
how they can keep their security forces loyal.
Yeah. This plays into the old Ayn Rand objectivism. I only care about myself and nobody
Yeah.
else. This is why they walk around with, you know, Ayn Rand books shoved up their ass because they love the idea that I don't have to care about anybody else. It makes life so much easier. Um, yeah, I mean, you talk to these guys; they got the copy of the Fountainhead, and the pages are stuck together. They love this.
What? Come on, guy. What are you doing? It's not that kind of show.
Uh, it's got to be funny if we're going to talk about terrible things.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Um, I only laugh to keep from crying, but it's true that's the way that they approach things. I said, why don't we give these billionaires LSD, push them into a forest, and maybe they'll, you know, repent. But
Come to
in
Yeah, but the
reality,
reality
they
is
already
Jeff Bezos goes up to space, comes back down. When most astronauts speak about having an epiphany, when they see how small the world is and how fragile everything is, they have an epiphany and a new connection to humanity. Jeff Bezos comes back down. He says, "Let's move industry to space. Let's just do more mining and resource extraction, but we'll do the dirty stuff in space, right? You guys don't mind." Fucking
Cap,
ridiculous.
fucking
So dumb.
Captain Kirk fucking came back from space. He was crying.
Yeah.
William Shatner, he came back down. He says, "Oh my God, I'm so insignificant. We've we've ruined this planet." Jeff Bezos,
Jeff,
dude, and Jeff Bezos takes mushrooms too. That's what trips me out. Is like you can't even just give these guys psychedelics and hope that they'll repent their way.
no,
They
they're
already
just evil.
do. Yeah,
They're just fucking awful. Jeff Bezos,
yeah.
yeah, Shatner comes down, has an epiphany that he's insignificant. Bezos comes back down from space. He comes back and says, "Oh, I'm the main character." It's just fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's sociopathic.
Yeah. Well, I did write an article recently. I discovered, you know, so there's this stupid poll that goes around that says most billionaires are self-made, and it turns out to be sort of true in a weird way. But what I started digging further, and I found that most of them have lost a parent before the age of 18. The majority of billionaires
Hmm.
have lost a parent either to divorce or from death. And so
So
it's
they
like this
started adulthood with millions of dollars they inherited,
could
right?
be, could be, or I think it's just that it plays into the whole Citizen Kane thing. Like these people just have this sociopathic void in their life that they need to
Oh
fill
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah. I
power
see.
and security.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I wrote this article. People are like, I don't care if they come from broken homes. Fuck them. I'm like,
The
yeah, I'm
whole
just
the
trying.
whole that the whole fiction of self-made billionaires is so ridiculous. Jeff
Yeah,
Bezos, he likes to tout that he built Amazon in his garage. He was an executive at a what, a broker,
yeah.
Wall Street
That's
broker.
Wall Street. He was on Wall Street.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he had
Fucking
connections.
Elon Musk had an emerald mine or whatever that he grew up with.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, they all started from something. We act like hard currency is the only thing, like cash in hand. is
Yeah.
what makes us wealthy or not. Where it's the innumerable services that we are given while growing up and while going through college and everything. That's also hard currency. That's also privilege that allows people to take risks and do things without falling back into homelessness.
Mm.
Like I came from destitution. I was born of a single mother. We lived, we bounced from house to house every few months. I went to like 7 different elementary schools because we could never stay in a single place. And up until recently, I never had a dollar in savings. I never had the freedom to take any sort of risk because if it goes bad, I'm homeless. My kids are homeless. And recently, I mean, in the last 5 years, I was able to start making enough where we could build up a nest egg where we're safe. And now, in my 40s, I'm able to go on vacations. You know, it's the innumerable resources and privileges that we come from and that are there behind us to support us that allow people to get wealthy.
Yeah.
This whole fiction of being self-made billionaires is utter nonsense if you take into account the numerous privileges they grew up with.
Yeah. For instance, even if your parents own their own house and that they could
Mm-hmm.
put it up for mortgage for you
Mm-hmm.
if they think and that's pretty much what they did with Jeff Bezos. His parents also gave him $300,000
Yeah,
to start
yeah.
Amazon. And it was under the auspice and the idea that, oh, well, our son is rolling with these Wall Street cats. He'll probably, maybe it's a good investment. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's live it. That kind of opportunity, that's exactly what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. It, that money is there. That system of support is there. I mean, if you don't have that support, then you're gonna be working 80 hours a week, living
Yeah.
off fast food because that's the most convenient thing to get you the calories you need to continue the next day.
Yeah. And what's the worst is people that are poor, like nothing is even taken into account if you have a hard childhood, or maybe your mom's a piece of
Hmm.
shit who chain smokes and puts out cigarettes and burns you with hot coat hangers.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, there's nothing written in the laws or the culture to really assess and talk about how do we take care of people who have been through that. Oh, if
Yeah,
you're in a wheelchair, if you've got Down syndrome, okay, well, then you're special needs and we need to get you here. But what about the
but
people who
only
get
this
burned with,
much. Yeah, but
yeah,
you only
eh,
get this much help. You know,
yeah,
if you need a little extra, sorry, we can't help you. It's all built to take advantage of people in need.
yeah,
So if you need something, if you need help, then yeah, we're gonna set up all these corporations to profit off your need. We'll make payday loans so you can pay end up owing us $3,000 for a $150 loan. You know, it's shit like that that's predatory, and our
I
capitalism is by nature predatory.
I fell for that one. I did. I fell for the
Hmm.
payday loans when I was a young chap.
I almost did. I was this close,
I want
and
that.
I just went hungry for 2 days
Yeah,
instead.
yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
I think I'd rather be a criminal than give my money to criminals.
It's true. I mean, it's all a matter of what we see as criminal. Like
Right.
if you're taking if you're conducting actions that are seen as crimes according to the law, but you're doing those actions in order to live or to feed your children, that's law is not morality. That's moral to do
Yeah.
something that ensures you live. You know,
Yeah.
and then it gets written into people's genetic code where they feel more and more desperate that they have to do this to survive because it's the only option they're given. And so that's how crime-ridden neighborhoods exist, is because you're giving these people no other fucking options except to do illicit things in order to live. And so instead of addressing the real issues in their community, like over policing or racist stop and frisk or refusal to hire, or hiring restrictions, all these things that, you know over incarceration of black males creates these generations of people that are raised without father figures or raised without that extra support from that extra job. And so it just continues the down spiral of entire communities.
Yeah.
I
And
don't
then
know.
it's great because then we can disenfranchise a whole group of people, and then
Hmm.
we can point our fingers at them and say, "Look at what animals they are because
Yeah.
they act in
Yep.
this certain way or whatever." And then
That's
we need to rethink what you can't rehabilitate somebody by sending them to jail and rehabilitate them from
yeah.
poverty. You need to give people money. I am a
Yep.
perfect example. If you give somebody enough to survive and try to get them on their feet, and they will,
Yes.
eventually be all right. And
Yep. Yep.
that's and
Exactly. That.
I had to move. I had to move from
Hmm.
America to Europe to get the social safety net, to get off my feet and to become a real human being.
Yeah. To feel accomplished. People need to feel that there's a reason for them to exist. It's fucking insufferable just
Mm,
existing, day to day, doing something you hate, working a job you hate for people who hate you to not afford rent. People can't exist like that. It's not humane. But
no.
yeah, like you said, when you're given support either by the community or by individuals, that's the only material conditions. When you improve someone's material conditions, they'll succeed. They'll
Yeah.
they'll behave in ways that are moral, by and large, according to the community.
Yeah.
Like you said, when I met my wife, I was I was actively trying to drink myself to death because I was in such a precarious situation, and I didn't have the energy anymore. And she gave me the financial and material support to get better. And 7 years later, I'm still sober and I have a beautiful family. So
Yeah.
when you
See,
when you improve someone's material condition, they get better.
there's two little nuggets of anecdotal evidence right there, and on top of it, the data also says clearly when you help people out, eventually they get on their own. This happened. They did this in a bunch of other countries too. They did it in Finland. They
Housing
found it.
first.
Yeah, you just give people
Yeah,
the stuff that they need. Boom, they stop stealing and killing each other and stuff. It's like, but I can't believe it. Conservatives, they don't even want to give you house. They don't even want to give young kids rubbers. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. That's too much. That gets in between you and Jesus.
Oh my God. What? So have you seen this push recently? The I think the latest thing that's going to happen is they're going to privatize the school system.
Oh, they've been trying that. Yeah, they've been pushing that hard with because if you take education away from impoverished kids, then that just boosts the status of rich kids. So the investment would be, if I impoverish these children further, make them dumber, then by comparison, my kids are excelling. So my kids will get the better positions. My kids will get the leg up. And so just price people out of education. And it's like I was saying earlier before we started recording, when you put a price on a life essential, then some people are going to be priced out. That's just how it is. And on
And
top of that, the several states, Iowa included, are trying to lower the minimum working age for children. So and let them work in more dangerous conditions. They're opening up slaughterhouses for kids as young as, I think it was 14 in certain positions, and they're letting kids work up to 40 hours a week. During the school week. It's so make kids dumber, take away their education, you know, continue raising rent, because that's not going down, and then put them to work at a younger age. It's just we're consuming ourselves into extinction, is what it is. The upper class needs more money. They've reached the fucking tip top fucking ceiling of how much they can mine out of people. So let's mine the younger generation even more, because we got to increase those profits for this quarter, and it's just so infuriating.
Yeah, it's the insatiable hunger
Yeah.
that they will never be quenched because that's written into the bylines and the code in the rule book of capitalism. It
Mm-hmm.
says you can never stop. You got to keep going, and every year has to be better than the last.
Yep.
I mean,
Eternal
frightening.
growth. We can't
Yeah,
have infinite growth on a finite planet. You got to ask, what is the end goal of capitalism? You know, we know what the end goal of communism is. It's utopia. You know, it's not obtainable within the next several centuries, but it's a goal. The goal is to be better and to have more um, equity and equality for
and
everyone.
less suffering. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. The end goal for capitalism is that it's just everything. They want everything. They want slavery. They want no regulation. Capitalism would deprive people of every life necessity unless they put in the amount of work to ensure that their bosses get richer. They want fewer billionaires, fewer millionaires. They want more working people. And they just want all of it to belong to a handful of people. That's it. That's the end goal of capitalism. So
and people.
what are we going to put our energy behind?
That's a good question. I mean, I definitely would think that just allowing billionaires to exist at all is one of the most undemocratic things that you could possibly allow to
So
happen.
dumb.
Because if they have all the money, then how, in the name of the Lord, are we having any influence over their influence? So
It's so
they're
stupid. We're so stupid. It's so easy. There's 3,000 of them, and there's 8 billion of us.
yeah,
What the hell are we doing?
yeah.
Come on, guys.
It could be easily done. Well, here's the thing: is what some rich industrialist said. Well, you can always pay one half of the poor people to kill the other half, and that's sort of you
Mm-hmm.
have these sycophantic bootlicking yahoos who want to be the police and the
And
guards
they're
and the
and they're loud and they're aggressive and they're scary. But we are so many more. You know,
and
people that have empathy for one another, people that see what's happening in Palestine and see the suffering of people around the world. The vast majority of us want to do something to make everybody better. They don't want
yeah,
to suck Elon Musk's toes until he fucking gives you a like on Twitter or whatever.
yeah. Which this is what we see with some of these pundits and hacks and stuff on Twitter. Isn't there this really bizarre and sick uh, cult of personality and fascist
Mm-hmm.
uprising going on over there? You know, my account got taken down for no
Yeah,
apparent reason, and now they won't give it to me again. And
unfucking real.
yeah, man, I
I
think
want to
that
get you back on. Are you still on Twitter? Or they took
I
that one
have
down?
I have another account. Yeah,
Okay,
I,
okay.
yeah, people can get to me. Uh, the homeless romantic something or other. You
Mm-hmm.
can look for it. But no, I think I got taken down because Bill Ackman, billionaire Bill Ackman, who is a huge Zionist, is going on a witch hunt to try to
Yeah, I saw
get
that.
people get people fired from Ivy League universities because they
Yeah,
want to talk about Palestine.
that
And so
Harvard president, right?
I made a parody account of Bill Ackman. I started commenting on people's shit. That could have been what got me banned.
Maybe.
Uh, I was just like totally lampooning, like, oh well, maybe we shouldn't just let any colored people into Ivy League schools anymore. You got to be careful when you're parodying though, because
Yeah,
immediately you get
people
attacked.
Oh yeah, and some people take it that. See, I don't have the I don't have the nerve to do a parody account. So I get too angry. I don't have
Dude, you
I
would,
can't keep the bit. I can't stay with the bit. I just
dude.
I lose it immediately. I'm like, I'm joking, you idiot.
Yeah, I actually went on Twitter. There's an anti-vegan thing, and I just went on there with totally gruesome animal cruelty pictures, and I just posted each one after the other, saying, I think this is rad. I think this is awesome.
Oh
And just
Jesus.
trying to get them. And a bunch of people, they started liking it. They were like, yeah, I don't see
Uh,
what I said. I was like, I don't see what vegans are crying about. This is totally fine. It's like a goose
yeah.
who's had all of his feathers ripped out. I'm like, they're like, yeah, whatever. Got to
Some
have
yeah.
blankets.
Some people when they get on social media, they decide what they're going to follow. And then they pick that tree. And no matter what that tree does, they refuse to see the forest around it.
Right. Yeah,
They just
yeah.
it's unreal how people get so caught up and the whole cult of personality that builds up on the internet.
Yeah. Now you put it. That's an excellent way to put it. Uh, Yeah, man, it's frightening what I see, and I have the sneaking suspicion that a lot of this engagement is paid for as well, because that's
Yeah, I get
psychologically it works if you have a bunch of people comment on the thing, and like Lex
if I get
Friedman's
yeah,
podcast, I think it's fake. Seems fake.
sure. I mean, who wants to watch fucking I had never heard of Destiny like
Oh
2 months
yeah,
ago. And
fucking
then
hate
he's
this guy.
everywhere. They I like how they put Ben Shapiro on the right and then they put less racist Ben Shapiro on the left. And we're supposed to be engaged with that debate.
And they're
Like they're the
debating,
same
or
person.
they're like agreeing with each other the whole time, and everybody's like, "Well, that wasn't much
I
of a
didn't
debate."
watch it. I didn't
I'd be too
watch it.
mad, right, to watch the whole thing.
No fucking
Um,
way. I'm not wasting my time.
Dude, I watched a bit of it. It's pretty ugly. Honestly,
Yeah,
Destiny is just a white supremacist from Nebraska
yeah.
who has his head way up his ass, and he takes way too much speed. Dude, have you seen this guy's jaw gymnastics? He's just going everything. He just
Oh,
needs to
really?
talk. He's constantly
Oh,
moving
he's
like,
tweaking. Yeah.
I take so much Adderall that I need to speak so fast that everybody's going to understand what I'm saying because I think that Israel is has right to defend itself. It's like,
Jesus
shut the
Christ.
fuck up, dude.
I don't have time for that.
No. No, in
I have
fact,
dogs to chase.
the more, yeah, the more, like, you're lucky you got responsibility. I'm sitting over here looking at this shit every day, and I get sucked into these things where what's wrong with young people or like streamer culture and like and stuff. Um, yeah, it's just I'm not into it. I'm not into the
Too
whole
much.
destiny thing. And I'll debate the
But
dude any day of the week.
but yeah, I like you were saying with the fake engagement.
Yeah,
Like I know at least 10% of my followers on TikTok or Twitter are scammers. You just gotta take it immediately, and you do. You get a boost when you get a new follower, even if you don't click to. Sometimes you don't click because you know it's gonna be fake,
yeah,
and then you get that post with 10,000 likes, and that's a big boost, and it
yeah,
brings you back to the platform.
yeah,
And even if half the engagement is fake, then you're still getting that pull back to continue using that product.
yeah, dude.
And
That's so
I
funny.
yeah,
That's so funny you said that because I had a video. I interviewed Bill Ayers, the radical leftist guy from the
yeah,
Weatherman
yeah,
Underground. Cool guy. I love this
yeah.
guy. Thing went viral. 4.9 million. I posted it and then I deleted the app right off my phone. I
Okay,
said I'm done. This is wasting my time. And I posted it, deleted it. Boom, went super viral. So kids, if
okay.
you want your video to go viral, post and then delete the app off your phone, and then it'll try to reel you back in by
Yeah, yeah.
giving you that traffic.
It is. It's a drug, and it's an entire generation now is. I mean, I sound like such an old man when I say
We're old, dude.
all the kids are addicted to social media, but
They're
it's
all
true.
on their phones. Meh.
It's true, and I'm one of them too. But
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
I'm trying to stay contemporary with the the means of communication these days. It's like, in order
I
to
mean, you got
get
that.
whatever you got to say, you got to play the game, and so I'm
Yeah,
playing the game.
yeah.
Um, I was
I'm in
even
it too. I want to spread my voice, and
yeah
that was pretty successful on TikTok, and I'm doing it again on Twitter. And the only way I can do it is by using the means of our own enslavement.
yeah. This is like a whole thing about feudalism now, where they own the keys to the marketplace or the key to the town square, as it were,
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
own those keys.
exactly.
That's scary, man, because that's feudalism. That's not even capitalism anymore. That's feudalism when the king owns you and he doesn't even have to provide you with any service or goods.
Yeah,
You just owe him rent. That's it.
the richest man on earth owns the public commons. He
Yeah.
can do with it whatever he wants. That's
Is
that's fucking criminal.
no
That's
red flags?
injustice.
Where's the red
Like,
flags on that
what are we
one?
doing? Capitalism is so fucking stupid.
Behind it all, the profit motive, if you look close enough, in every industry, in every cultural facet of our life that we live, the profit motive ruins it. It
Mhm.
ruins it, cheapens it,
Yep.
exploits people, exploits animals, exploits the environment. No matter what industry, I've seen it happen from pharmaceuticals to farming to, I mean, you name it, food,
Hmm.
healthcare,
Yeah,
housing.
we put fucking baby formula behind a locked glass cage,
Oh,
so people can't feed their fucking babies unless they pay. That's how
yeah.
that's how fucking backwards capitalism is.
In places like New Orleans, they have armed guards at the 99-cent store and the Dollar General.
Yeah, what the
Armed
fuck
guards.
are we?
I'm going to shoot you over, $30 worth of cheap plastic and, baby
Unreal,
diapers and,
unreal.
oh, the things I've seen in
Mothers are
my
going to
day.
prison for stealing formula. How
Yeah.
fucking stupid is this fucking country?
There was a guy in the South who went to prison for life for stealing a VCR because he was a multiple offender. And I think it
Yep.
was a three strikes, you're out kind of
Yeah.
deal.
How fucking what? Where's the justice there?
It's not even
Uh,
sensible. So you can get done arguing the ethics and morality of it all. And of course, it's unethical, and of course, it's immoral. But on top of it, guess what it is? It's not
expensive.
efficient. It's
Yeah.
expensive, right?
It costs more. Put this fucking money that you're putting into imprisoning people for selling drugs or stealing VCRs and support them outside of prison. Let's try that. Let's try supporting people before they get to prison, and then they won't affect the community in negative ways.
Yeah.
It's
It's
really just preventative. Let's try
well,
preventative care.
slavery though is great because when you got a slave, that value that he represents, you can funnel it right to yourself and your organizations rather than
Yeah.
release him back into the wild and let him sort of stimulate the economy in this
Yeah.
abstract sort of way. Right.
Slavery exists today in the form of prison labor. You
Right.
know, it's unjust, it's unpractical, and it's inefficient.
Yeah. Who makes do you know some of the contracts that go out like what corporations do prison labor? I remember hearing a few.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not exactly sure, but I know Hobby Lobby, I think. If you're anywhere that anywhere that sells little tchotchkes, little mass-produced plastics, easily reproduced objects, that's usually going to be prison labor, at least a portion of
Hmm.
it.
Yeah.
Like
Uh,
I remember being on a podcast a couple years ago with this gentleman who was heavy into nerd culture, and he was worried about being able to collect all his bobbleheads and tchotchkes after the revolution? Like what happens then? Like, can I still get all this? My answer is, would it be would it be would it be more meaningful to you if you collected all these identical bobbleheads that everybody else is also collecting? Or would it mean more if you went down the street to an artisan who crafted the specific bobblehead you wanted, and you bought that ethically, and you have this fucking this item that is unique, and you supported someone in your own community? Would that
Right.
mean more than this fucking mass produced bullshit that we're all just desperate to fucking grab and fill whatever void is in our fucking lives? I don't
Do
know.
they? I mean, what's the what do they say? Like, what does it? Why isn't that more important?
We stopped talking shortly after that.
Uh,
He didn't, for whatever reason, not being able to collect. Um, I think it's short-sightedness, not being able to see past his specific hobby
you're right.
was, it's scary.
Yeah.
Change is scary. I get that, whatever. But you have to acknowledge that your hobby is also damaging.
It's
It
like,
has repercussions that you don't mean to inflict on others, but it
yeah, yeah.
does.
But at the same time, it's like, oh well, we give the plants Brondo because it's got electrolytes. Well, what are electrolytes? Well, it's what's in Brondo. It's like, I think
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, that's the level of logic that we're working in. Well, I like to drive my car really fast and put stickers on it and like funny and spend a lot of money souping up my car and driving it as fast as I can. Well, why? What's the good
yeah.
to go fast or whatever? Cheap thrills and consumerist goods and frilly accoutrement,
But I mean, it's
singing fit.
all. I'm not even denigrating people that feel that way, because it's all we know. I mean, if we have no knowledge of a system other than mass production and consumption, then it's hard to look outside of the box we've been living in our entire lives if we have no knowledge of anything else.
I mean,
And it takes,
did you grow up like that? I grew up in like, going to the mall was like the thing or whatever.
yeah,
Like you go,
yeah. I mean, my childhood was atypical, but I still grew up wanting all the GI Joes.
right.
That was big for me. Um,
I was especially poor. I'd get the newspaper and
yeah.
then they'd have all the Christmas sales and stuff, and I would make
Oh
lists about
yeah.
shit that I would never get in a
Yep.
million years because my mom was the type that says, "We're getting the 40-cent macaroni and cheese." And I'm like, "I want the one with the dinosaur." And she's like, "You're not getting the one with the fucking dinosaur."
Sorry,
Taught
bud.
for taught for an early age. I know my life has been fraught with tragedy. Um, but
I
growing up
mean,
in a trailer park, yeah.
yeah. Poverty. There's there's genetic memory, you know, of poverty when you grow up with nothing, and then
Mm,
when you're in a culture that prizes consumption as an ethical trait, that's all you know. So when someone comes and says you can't have this fucking bobblehead, that's a threat. You
right.
perceive that as a threat to your way of existence. And so, we're working against that whole culture. And how do you change an ingrained culture in the next 10 years so that we don't all fucking die and drown in collapsing ice, you know?
Yeah.
So I mean that's what we're working against. And I'm not even saying don't buy that bobblehead, because that's not going to kill the world. I'm saying is just just look at what's around you and look at what gives you purpose, and decide if there's something that would actually give you more purpose. Like, give $10 to a homeless person and see if that feels better than giving $10 to a factory that sells you a bobblehead. Figure out, just try something else. Look outside of what you're doing.
That's great advice, honestly. And I always give people this advice too. It's just, instead of seeing what you can go do or buy or experience or things like this, see what you can go without
Yeah,
doing.
that's a good
Because
one.
if any, my life, being homeless or whatever, and roaming around, hopping trains, contracting scabies and lice, and playing accordion at gas stations, has taught me anything, it's that you can have a hell of a good time on very little.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true. Uh, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we should all, of course, individually do what we can to make the world a better place, but we can't bear the guilt of massive corporations and government entities, because there's
Yeah.
nothing we can do about that except organize with other people.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
speaking of that, I wanted to say some of the companies that were reported using prison labor, I had the list here: Walmart, Starbucks, Sprint, Verizon, McDonald's, Wendy's, JCPenney, Kmart. I didn't know Kmart was still around. Came apart. Uh, and the Louis Dreyfus Company. I don't know what that is. Global Agriculture Corporation,
okay.
um, in Louisiana. So there you go. Ethical as fuck, right? I heard
Yeah,
Whole Foods, they have convicts make their cheese for them. So,
that's pretty
and
cool.
what's sad is I publish articles about convicts all the time and prison reform and stuff. And people,
Hmm.
this is like the saltiest one where people go like, well, fuck them. They
Yeah.
broke the law. Fuck them. And this goes back to what you said about, uh, you know, what's legal and what's moral is hardly mutually exclusive. These are
Yep.
things that are not always true. And Bob Dylan said, to live outside the law, you have to be honest with yourself,
Hmm.
honest with what you believe in. And sometimes you got to break the law.
Yeah. Nobody wants to sell drugs. Nobody wants to hold up a gas station. Nobody wants to steal food to eat. People do these things out of desperation because they have no other recourse in life.
Yeah.
So if we address the issues of poverty, then we're also eliminating the need for prisons. So let's look at look at cause and effect. Look at the entropy of it.
Yeah.
What is happening that creates these situations in the first place?
Yeah.
It's just so infuriating.
You eliminate poverty. Data has already shown in places like Europe versus America, lower amounts of poverty,
Hmm.
lower amounts of crime. Uh, there are going to be the occasional nutcases
Yeah.
who do want to chop your head off and use it as an
Yes.
ashtray. They're going to exist, but you know what? They make up such a small percentage of the population that
And that's
I
another
think,
thing is with popular culture, we have on cop TV shows. There's a psychopath in every neighborhood, waiting to jump out and kill you. That's the perception we're given from the
yeah,
media and from our consumption of fiction. But the
yeah,
fact is, it's so minuscule that it almost doesn't need to be addressed. I
yeah,
mean, it will need to be addressed, of course, but it almost doesn't because there's so few of them.
right. I believe that. I think what we're talking about here is fixing the culture. If you
Hmm.
fix the culture by fixing the policies, then maybe you'll have some actually civilized human beings running
Yeah,
around.
address people's material needs, and then they won't have to resort to actions that they don't want to take in the first place.
Yeah. The other thing is when you say about capitalism too is the constant hammering in the head of the keeping up with the Joneses kind of, constant bombardment of advertisement to buy this and buy that, and you won't be happy and you won't smile like these people in this ad unless you smoke
Hmm.
cools. This sort of psychological bombardment, uh, we got to get rid of that too. We got to dump
Hmm.
that because that's driving a lot of our culture, like who
Yeah.
we are. We used to bang on drums and dance and fuck and eat food and stuff, and that was culture. But
Hmm.
now it's being perfectly crafted by Disney and by all these places to how we act and I love
Yep.
movies and I love this stuff. But let's be honest, music and movies have been totally, you know, taken over, hijacked by
Sterilized.
sterilized,
Yeah.
and there's probably other
Everybody
good.
has this perfect cookie cutter suburban life with no strife,
Yeah,
with the perfect nuclear family, and that's what you need. If you don't get this, then you're fucking miserable. If your life isn't exactly like this, you're a failure. You need to consume more. It's get a
all that
third job.
all the
That's what
acne
it is.
commercials. I remember growing up, and it's like, oh well, no girls are gonna fuck you if you're in high school if you don't get these oxy pads or whatever, and
Yeah.
you've got acne and stuff, and you gotta scrub it. They don't tell you don't about diet or don't eat sugar or don't
Yeah.
drink too much milk or the stuff that we know now about this stuff. No, no, no. Buy this product and then
Yep.
wipe your face with it. It won't
You can
work.
still you can still guzzle this soda,
Guzzle the
but
soda,
but
but
also
then
buy this. Buy
right,
the soda byproduct to put on your
right.
face. Yeah.
Well, isn't this how capitalism works? It's like we sell them the soda, and then once they get diabetic, we sell them the insulin. That's the
Yep.
perfect, hat trick.
And bonus, also a weight loss drug. So you win.
Yeah. See, I'm on the lookout for this. So everybody check Ozempic. It's the newest, hottest thing. The Eli Lilly stock price is going through the roof because it's such a miracle thing. It basically shuts your brain off and tells you that you're not hungry and also makes it so your food moves super
Oh, so
slow
you
through your
just
gut.
fucking starve.
You just starve to death. And the thing is,
Odd.
the side effects are insane. It's like diarrhea and
Yeah.
constipation at the
Oh,
same
Jesus
time.
Christ.
Like cancer or whatever, like
Yeah, just be
cysts.
miserable.
What else? There was
Be
one that
be
was,
miserable and skinny. There you
yeah,
go.
the one was really bad though. It was if you take this drug that to get thin, you lose bone mass and muscle mass as well. So
Jesus
like,
Christ.
yeah, you want to get skinny fast. I mean,
You're looking for that heroin chic.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm lucky. I guess I already got it, but then again, you know, I don't
I quit smoking last year, and I immediately gained 20 pounds. Like the day
really.
after I quit smoking, I just packed it on. Yeah.
I think it's something about when you put smoke into your mouth, it makes your digestion hyperactive, and
Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah. I still smoke weed, so that I'm still probably, if I
yeah.
stop
Oh,
smoking weed, I'd probably balloon up too. Yeah.
yeah.
But my granddad was a skinny guy from Alabama. He was
Yeah,
like a
yeah, yeah.
scarecrow. So,
Yeah. My dad
yeah,
was real skinny too.
yeah. Well, you'll be all right. Just get on that plant-based vegan diet,
I'm
bro.
listen, I'm 41. I could give a shit. I'm an old man with
Yeah, yeah.
kids and dogs and a wife, and I'm happy as hell. I don't care if I get fat.
I turn 40 next year, and that's why I say
Okay.
the concrete is setting. I need to get the good habits in before everything.
Listen. 40 is brutal. Like the
Really.
2 months, yeah, 2 months after I turned 40, I had a mini stroke,
Oh,
and
dude,
yeah, that was pretty fucking scary. And then
where's
I've
it
been
come?
fucking, what's that?
Where'd it come from? Do you know what it
Just
was from?
high blood
Stress?
pressure, high blood pressure
Oh,
my whole life, and it finally just kicked in.
well,
It
I'll
was a
tell you.
wake up call, but yeah,
I'm gonna tell you right now that meat, it's got saturated fat. It's all saturated fat. It's
yep.
gonna corrode your veins, and that sugar too, boy. That's
The
gonna
daughter,
corrode your veins
the
too.
doctors got me on more fruits, more veggies. I've always loved fruits and veggies, but more fruits, veggies, cut out the red meat,
Yeah,
no salt, cut down on
and
the
the
sugar. The pop is the
refined
killer for me.
Sure, you got to stay away from that sody pop.
Yeah,
Yeah, I forget what you guys call it out there. Is it sody pop up there? No, is it?
it's sody
It's
pop.
sody pop. Uh, no, but the refined carbs too, bro. Watch out for
Yeah.
the white flour, white rice, anything with a high glycemic
Oh,
index, potatoes even.
you
Uh,
can't keep me away from white rice. I will fight you. Don't care.
all right.
Worth it. Worth the
Once in a
stroke.
while, once in a while.
Okay.
I actually, I eat white rice too. I love it actually, but I'm just saying, like they say it's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah.
I go with the
She's got me
wild
on a whole
rice.
new diet. It's and then all this year I've been just taking all kinds of different steps to get my blood pressure under control. But finally, I just had a follow up last week, another one, and my blood pressure is the lowest it's ever been my whole life. So things are going
Way to
good.
go.
Yeah.
Good man. Yeah, the occasional walk and the occasional healthy
Yeah.
food. That's all you got to do, and don't stress, of course. But all right, well, look, let's sign off now that we've gotten nice
Yeah.
and personal. Everybody knows our medical history. Uh, I'll sign off to everybody out in TV land, and then we'll wrap up backstage, as it were.
Okay.
Commie Trucker, check him out on Twitter. Check him out on TikTok. If anybody's out there
At,
listening,
yep. At Commie_trucker. I'm everywhere you go.
yeah.
Can't escape me.
No, he's very pervasive out there, folks. You can find him. I'm Chris Jeffries. I'm some idiot with a microphone. We'll see you next time.